General purpose SteamOS draws ever closer. Not quite there yet, but at the very least, this latest version of SteamOS officially supports a second device. And around this time are two different expos, primarily Computex, but also a different one, Warhammer Skulls, for all of you Warhammer fans out there. And I've read a bit of Warhammer lore, and let me tell you, it sounds insane. But if you like this video or any other video I've made, please like, subscribe, and share with all of your friends. And in the meantime, why don't you check out Off the Console? It's a brand new podcast created by me, Gardner Bryant, and Games Revealed, with guest stars occasionally. And while yes, it's on YouTube, it's also available wherever podcasts can be found, like Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Check it out. SteamOS 3.7.8 is the first stable release of any version of SteamOS 3.7. For those of you brave enough to daily drive the preview branch, you've seen plenty of these changes already. But for those that want a more stable experience on the stable branch, well, let me tell you, there's a lot of changes here. Many of these are behind the scenes changes, things like driver updates, updates to Mesa, updates to the Linux kernel, updates to KDE Plasma, and each of those individual changes bring about their own laundry list of changelogs. So if you're super interested in what these add, I would recommend looking it up yourself because I can't be bothered to read them all. Many of these driver updates and Linux kernel updates do increase performance, albeit a marginal amount, but any amount of performance increase is good. Also wholly separate but also very important to the Steam Deck experience is Proton 10, which is finally in beta. Again, way too many changes to read, but some of them may be important in case a certain game doesn't work properly. In terms of feature updates, there are two major feature updates. First and foremost is the ability to wake up the Steam Deck LCD with Bluetooth controllers. This was thought to be a Steam Deck OLED exclusive feature, but now you can turn your Steam Deck LCD into a dedicated docked machine. Given Valve controls both the Steam Deck hardware and the software, there's no telling if this feature can come to general purpose devices or other handhelds like the Legion Go S. And on the topic of the Legion Go S, the other major feature is official support for the Legion Go S. This is definitely to coincide with the SteamOS version of the Legion Go S, which is supposed to be releasing soon. Now, I only have the Windows version of it, which comes in white, but in theory, I should be able to take this image and install it on my Legion Go S, and it should just work. And with Legion Go S support comes a new challenge. What do we do with Steam Deck verification? Well, Valve has a solution to that. SteamOS compatibility. This essentially tells you that a game runs on SteamOS and that's it. While this shows up on the Legion Go S, this is primarily for all sorts of SteamOS devices, because it's pretty clear that in the future many different SteamOS devices with different specs will exist, and in different form factors too, which yes would coincide with the release of a general purpose SteamOS that you can install on basically any device, whether it's your own gaming desktop, or maybe like a HTPC that's in your living room, or other handhelds. You know, on the topic of other handhelds, the changelog also mentions improved support for other AMD-powered handhelds. They specifically mention the ROG Ally and the Legion Go, the original one, I mean. I'm already quite happy with Bazite on my ROG Ally X, but if anyone wants to try installing SteamOS on their ROG Ally or Ally X, feel free to do so. Just know that the only supported devices are the Steam Deck OLED, and the Legion Go S. And on the topic of handhelds, Computex is around, and we got to see two new handhelds. Well, two newish handhelds. First and foremost is the MSI Claw. The MSI Claw A8 this time is powered by AMD Ryzen, coming with, yes, a Z2 Extreme. Now, traditionally, the MSI Claws have been Intel based, but Intel graphics are still kind of meh, especially in regards to the drivers from what I understand. The Z2 Extreme though seems very promising. Now, I don't think I've ever daily driven a MSI Claw, but I would certainly be interested in this one. The other major handheld we saw was of course the Zotac Zone. It has a Ryzen AI 9 HX370. Ugh, the name of these processors, man. It has the same 120Hz OLED display from before. The model showcased on Computex was the 32GB model. And yes, the Zotac Zone has a trackpad. But the most interesting thing about the Zotac Zone this time around is not the spec, but rather the operating system. It runs Linux, specifically a version of Manjaro Linux. Now, one has to wonder, why Manjaro and not SteamOS? For those not in the know, Manjaro has been working on their own version of game mode as well. A gaming specific version of Manjaro that's also immutable and features a quote-unquote game mode as well. But rather than using Steam as the backbone for everything, instead it's using Zotac's own One launcher. I've never used a Zotac device, but I don't know anything about the One launcher, but what I do know is that they're porting this over to Linux, and this will be the primary interface by which you interact with the system. Of course, going to desktop mode to do desktop mode things. This is one of the most interesting developments we've seen in handhelds. Many other non-Steam Deck handhelds have softwares designed to be controller friendly, but they're always clumsy because Windows is always just running right under it, and Windows does Windows things. That's part of why Windows on handhelds kinda suck. But imagine Armory Crate, but without Windows underneath all of it doing dumb Windows stuff. Software like Legion Space and Armory Crate would be a lot more palatable without Windows underneath all of it. While Lenovo decided to partner up with Valve and make a SteamOS device, Zotac breaking off and doing their own thing was not expected. As for other Computech stuff, there was a lot of cool stuff, like Noctua has a bunch of stuff. They're doing thermosiphons, they're doing liquid cooling, they've even got a mouse. But the stuff at Computex is primarily for the desktop enthusiast. I for one am super excited though, because I think it's about time I upgrade my own PC. And yes, there was another expo going on as well, Warhammer Skulls. Now Warhammer is a franchise from the Dark Ages, back in the 80s. And for it to be big enough to have its own expo, it must be pretty dang important. Heck, even some of the most influential celebrities love Warhammer. And by influential celebrities, I really just mean Henry Cavill. And legitimately speaking, doing Warhammer, like the tabletop game, is like the top one nerdiest thing someone can do. With Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 doing so well, and the Warhammer episode of Secret Level being like among the best, it's no secret that even normies can enjoy Warhammer. As long as, of course, you're not trying to explain Warhammer to normal people using a 12-hour PowerPoint. But yes, a ton of Warhammer games were announced, including a remastered version of Warhammer Space Marine 1, and a sequel to Warhammer Boltgun, and I really did like Boltgun. It is of course worth mentioning that Warhammer Skulls is almost exclusively for video games, nothing with any other Warhammer products or anything like that, so no news on Henry Cavill's live-action Warhammer series. I am super curious as to where that's going though. Now there are plenty of Warhammer games, from first-person shooters to third-person shooters to RTSs, but you know what we really need? A Warhammer fighting game. If you like this video, please press the like button and check out our other videos, and if you like those other videos as well, be sure to press the subscribe button and share the good gospel of high-tech lowlife with your friends. Furthermore, we have a community Discord for enlightened individuals such as you. And if you wish to further support high-tech lowlife, be sure to check out our Patreon page. Links in the description.